All right. Good morning, everyone. I am Patty Goolsby out of the Denver metro area. I am super excited to be part of this call every Friday morning. So with that, this is our culture call. That means there are tons of people on from all over, and there will also be people that watch the replay. This is going to be one I can tell already you're going to want to watch the replay. So with that, two quotes that we start with every week is a culture is strong when people work for each other and with each other, and a culture is weak when we work against each other for themselves. And I want you to think about LifeVantage Legacy today. That's going on today down in Mexico. And that's why this culture is so amazing. And the last one is a culture eats strategy for breakfast every time. With that, I'm going to pass it over to Shannon Shine, Pro 6, Denver metro area as well, so she can introduce our guest. Shannon?
Okay, thank you so much, Patty. And you're right, we have so much fun doing this call every Friday. I'm so excited to introduce today's speaker, and I have to thank Julia Mills for getting Dr. Jackie Kilraine on for us and saying, oh, I really want to get her on. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Let me read you her bio and not take any more time after that. Dr. Jackie Kilraine is a doctor of chiropractic. She has been in private practice for 29 years. She is an author, certified in brain core neurofeedback, and as an epigenetic coach through Empyrean Academy. She has been an examiner for the National Board of Chiropractic Examiners for 20 years. She is a member of the International Society of Neurofeedback and Research. She helps women who have been everything to everybody else rediscover their health and their passion to live the life of their dreams. She listens, and with science, experience, and compassion, and a whole body approach, helps her patients uncover their natural state of good health. So Dr. Jackie, thank you for joining us this morning, and please take it away.
Oh, I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me. Yes, like you said, I'm a chiropractor and a mom, and I've been in practice over 29 years now, and have just taken myself through different avenues. And if you want a little bit about my story and how I ended up here with LifeVantage and kind of changed the whole focus of my practice. For a long time, I was married for 25 years, dated the same man since I was 17, and in 2011 he was diagnosed with terminal cancer and passed away in 2013. And that left me kind of lost, even though I thought I was a really independent person. I never changed my name. I owned my own business. I was a doctor. He was a stay-at-home dad. I thought, I just had it all going on. But I had really kind of put myself in this little anxious box, or just this little box. And I was very satisfied just being the chiropractor in my practice. Even though it was my own practice, I was the doctor in my practice, just like I have my receptionist in my practice and my therapist in my practice. And after he passed away, I had to start to do a lot of things that I just wasn't comfortable with. The things he did that I wasn't really comfortable with, and I had to learn how to step out of my comfort zone. And I nearly quit practice. I got anxious. I was depressed. I thought about quitting. My brother-in-law said, you can sell your practice and go move out to California and live by your brother. And I said, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to sell my practice, which is ridiculous. I love practice. And I'll move out to California and live by my brother. The thing is, my brother lives in a monastery. What was I going to do? Just like kind of wait for him to come out. So I said, that's not really going to work. I did start neurofeedback, which I got for my chronic pain patients, knowing that chronic pain is really situated in the brain, and there's a lot of other different symptoms that go along with it. But before I did the neurofeedback on my patient, I did it on myself, and it really saved my life. It changed my life. It took me out of that anxious, depressed state that I was in, and it took the fear that I had away, so I could step out and do different things and start to question everything. And instead of being the chiropractor in my practice, I wanted to be more the entrepreneur in my practice. And I really wanted to leave behind things that didn't serve me anymore, or things that I really didn't enjoy, because I knew that, life could be really short. And that's one thing that led me to, I said to myself, if I'm going to question one thing, I can question everything. So if I always could go back to where I was before, because I knew how to do that really, really well, but I just started kind of stepping out and doing things that I had never done before and that I really wanted to do, and I quit overthinking things, and that's what led me to questioning multi-level marketing. You know, I just said no before. Well, why do you say no? Well, I don't know why I said no. I just always said no. I really didn't have a good reason why I was saying no to a lot of the things that I said no to. So when I opened up and I looked around, I met just so many serving doctors who were doing different things, who were sharing what they knew, and I got involved in an epigenetic group, and that's where I met Julia. I had just posted, my son had psoriasis, and it was right on his forehead, and he was 15, and so in this little Facebook group that we were on, I said, does anybody know anything that changes the genetics of psoriasis? Because I had found a little article, and she said yes, and she posted this pre and post picture of a client who was on Protandim for 2 months, and the psoriasis just really cleared up. And then she also posted a study on psoriasis and oxidative stress, and you know, and the stats saying how, you know, Protandim reduces oxidative stress. So that was it for me. I signed up that night. I got it. I started taking it myself and just had energy from the beginning of the day to the end of the day. My son started taking it. His forehead cleared up, and you know, that's how it got me into that. So, and I love the science because I could recommend it to my patients very comfortably. You know, I don't do any other supplements. I mean, I do based on their epigenetics, but this was just something that helped a lot of my patients with chronic stubborn issues that we just couldn't seem to push past. And it made a big difference. So, yeah. That's.
Wow. I know Shannon's trying to unmute. There we go.
There you go.
Go ahead, Shannon.
So for the people who just got on, can you give the definition of epigenetics?
Well, epigenetics is the part of the DNA that responds to the environment. So it can change by what you eat, how you sleep, how you move, and it can dictate a little bit what's best for you. So we can get very specific about how your body responds to certain food. Like some people epigenetically don't ever feel full. Or some people don't taste sweet. So they may be the person that puts a whole lot of sugar in their coffee. And if you knew that you were the person that was there's also a gene that sits down and says, if I'm gonna start eating chips, I'm gonna eat the whole bag. They just don't have that shut off. They don't have that feel full thing. So it helps us kind of guide based on their DNA what's best suited for them. And there are things that you can change. So you can upregulate certain genes, or you can downregulate certain genes, turn them on, turn them off by how much you sleep, or the foods you eat, or the way you respond to your environment. Or there are just some things that are set there that, yes, you don't particularly feel full when you do this, so let's make sure we have a certain type of diet. You know, so we can just custom tailor. It's very individualized per each person. But it may help people understand who, I just can't lose weight, I just can't lose weight. Well, maybe it's because of this particular gene, or maybe you're not designed to have that shift work because your genes for sleep say you really need to go to bed early and get up early, not work all night. So that's basically epigenetics, just the part of your DNA that changes.
I've got that go to bed early gene. But,
Me too.
so Protandim, we know it doesn't cure, treat, prevent, mitigate anything. So in combination with the epigenetics and the upregulating and downregulating, that's how we've heard it. We've seen the paper where it's got the arrows with the different disease processes, but you're saying that you saw in your patients it even helped with the sleep idea or the whole bag of chips idea.
Right. Well, so much of what we look at too has to do with oxidative stress. So I do neurofeedback, and there was a study early on that one of my instructors had published on the brain and the different phases of oxidative stress of the brain. So he showed what a brain looked like that was very healthy, young, healthy, no disease process, and then one that was near death. And he labeled the study the different stages of oxidative stress of the brain. So you have oxidative stress of the brain, and you can just see oxidative stress being cellular inflammation and so many different disease processes. So this was just like a baseline for all of my patients, really. I recommend, this is baseline, and then we can get into a little more specifics on other things that you may want to do with the way you sleep, the way you move, or what you eat. But this was where we started with everybody. So it's really what I recommend for everyone's baseline care plan. Yeah.
Okay, so I know there's going to be a million questions on this, but you start off with a blood test, or are you starting off with something else?
Epigenetics is a little cheek swab. So it's just a cheek swab. We put it in, we send it to Apeiron. Apeiron Academy has their own DNA testing now, and it'll give us back the particular genes that we want to look at. So if we're looking at nutrition, we're looking at about 144, not different genes, but we look at snacking, we look at hunger and satiety, we look at the way you might metabolize carbohydrates, or the way you might metabolize gluten or dairy, and then we can kind of custom tailor a diet plan from that. And so it's an interactive one, so it's not just where you just get a report back and you say, don't eat this or that. You see what the client is having issues with, or what they're really struggling with. And because you can have a particular genetic propensity, but it's not expressed. So yeah, you may have the gene that says you crave sweets, but you don't really, that's not a big problem for you. So we kind of try to hone down with each client what their particular issues are, and then look at their genetic background and customize the plan from that.
Okay, so on I know we could talk about product all day long, but I want to switch just a second. When you're talking about business, you've been in, you're sharing this with others. Do doctors and other people that are in your realm, your social network, are they starting to look at you like, wait a minute, you're onto something here? We've been looking at this for a long time.
Right.
Wow.
Definitely. I'm an examiner for the boards, and I've been doing that for 20 years, and it's the same group of doctors. We meet twice a year. We do the examination. But last November, I think I was at something for LifeVantage, so I was not at the board. So it had been a year since I had been there. So I went last May and, signed in. The same girl that always checks us in for 20 years. We usually show pictures of our kids and compare stuff. She just looked at me. She didn't really say anything to me, and I thought, okay. And then she came back to me later, and she said, Jackie, I didn't know who you were. I said, you got to be kidding me. And I had about 4 doctors come up that I had seen for 20 years. They said, I didn't recognize you. Didn't you see me look at you? And I had to kind of stare to you. You look great. What are you doing? They all said, what are you doing? What are you doing? I want to know what you're doing. I couldn't believe it, because I'm like, really? When you see yourself every day, you just don't see the change in you. When people haven't seen you for a while and they know you, then they see that there's a big difference. So yeah, there's a lot, and a lot of them doing that. And when they're all really looking, I kind of run in those little circles with people that are doing some different stuff, but it's out there. They know about it. A lot of them are looking at LifeVantage.
So can you tell us how you incorporate, I know Shannon's getting a list of questions going too. Can you tell us how you're incorporating, I know you've talked about Nerf 1, Nerf 2. What about Nerf 1?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I consider I really like Nerf 1 and Nerf 2, since most of my patients are women with chronic pain, fibromyalgia. They all have energy issues. They all have mitochondrial issues. So I really recommend, I start them 3 months with the Nerf 1 and the Nerf 2. I really encourage, the Vitality Stack, but I would really like the Axio. I think they need that brain-body connection, and with me doing neurofeedback, it just makes such a difference. So I usually work up a care plan for my patients, and that's one of the recommendations that I have. So we may have a 3-month care plan, and that would include 3 months of Protandim. It's just, I don't know how you can I don't know how you can leave it out. I just don't know. So I can't not recommend that. If they choose, it's just like anybody, if they choose not to follow your care plan, they don't follow your care plan. But most of them do, because they know it's well researched. They know I am very particular about what I recommend. I'm not recommending a whole lot, it's just a few things. So they know that we really dial it down and look at it and be sure that what we're recommending I've done myself. There's nothing in my office that I haven't been the patient of first, and that my family is too. So that's what I do. Business-wise, I usually recommend at least the NRF1, NRF2 for them, but I try to incorporate the whole, I really try to get the Axio in there too. So
explore that a little bit. Why is it that you would like so many of them or everyone on Axio? I
just know it's a whole body connection. And I feel like the Axio crossing the blood-brain barrier just really seems to help them have more clarity of focus. I know for the people that I take care of that have had chronic pain for a long time, what I found over all these years of practice is they've usually had some type of trauma, whether it's a car accident, a surgery, a physical abuse, so some type of trauma that their brain is on a hyper state of alert. They're always looking out there for the threat. And I feel like the Axio really helped me with my mental clarity and my focus. And they have a lot, usually, you just not the body pain, and when you've had it for a long time, if you don't include the brain in that, you're just not going to get well. And I know that because I've been in practice 30 years, and I know that since I incorporated the brain work that I do too, and see people really get better. And these products just really help them seem to get better faster. I mean, they really do. And now I don't hardly not do it with it. So I hear all the time people tell me I got out of bed and I didn't have to think before I took the next step. My feet didn't hurt when they hit the floor. So it's a big deal.
And I know I don't start the day, and none of the 4 of us in my family don't start the day without our Axio. Can you share a little bit with autism?
Well, I think we look too at autism, and we're doing a little talk on it this afternoon, actually, with oxidative stress in the brain and with mitochondrial dysfunction in the brain. And I think the oxidative stress, there's a study that I have and Julia could probably give us more detail on that too, that links the oxidative stress with autism. So I think that and just seeing a lot of other people who have children with autism who have gotten good results using Axio too. I was just down in Savannah, and I wish I could remember everybody's name, but there was a pediatric neurologist, a PA giving, and they all use Axio and treat for the children in their practice, and a lot of them deal with autism. I think one of the PA actually, her daughter had autism.
So this is kind of a specific question about that. I know a lot of times kids with autism are very sensitive to what they're going to put in their mouth taste-wise. Do you have any tricks about that, about how to get a child who doesn't like the taste of it to have it?
For the Axio, I think with the different flavors that normally we can find one that they'll like. So I think it's just kind of experimenting on the. I think the Axio might be a little easier because most of the kids like it. I don't know if that particular person has tried the Axio, but that seems to work for most of the clients that I've given it to, children.
I do have another question, Patty. Are you waiting to jump in? Dr. Kilraine, can you tell us, when Julie first shared with you, you were looking for psoriasis answers. When she shared the information with you, what stuck out with you to say, I really need to look deeper into this, and then to bring it into your practice? What was the...
For me, it was really the science. It really was. Because you could see a lot, you can hear a lot of testimonials, and people will come in and say, hey, try this, try that, but there was no evidence behind it. There was no science behind it. So for me, it was the product and the science behind it as well. That would make me feel comfortable recommending it, to my patients. And then, of course, I took it too, and then I could have the personal experience along with the science. And what's better than that, really? You have your own testimonial, and then you can back it up with the science too. So I felt totally comfortable with that, and I'd never seen anything like that. And I think the study with the multiple sclerosis study, the one with Texedera, that was really fascinating to me, since I do neurofeedback, and I do have some MS patients. That was pretty convincing. That's pretty convincing when you see it broad, how the studies have just incorporated so many different areas. And when you understand oxidative stress, and you can take it all the way down to the cellular level, and everything's made up of cells, it was just a no-brainer after that.
So we always want to tell everybody, don't run out and try to go find a doctor or any sort of a medical practitioner. So to jump into your business and say, oh, they're going to be the one. But which science? When we go talk to people, and we always run into some skeptical people, was there one paper besides or was it the MS paper that...
The MS paper really intrigued me too, and then I set up a little Google Scholar feed, and I set up, so Google Scholar, you can just go to Google Scholar and you can type in a subject, and I typed in NRF2, I typed in NRF1, and I typed in oxidative stress. Every peer-reviewed published study that comes out on NRF2, NRF1, or oxidative stress comes to my inbox, and I look at them every day. So I looked at them for a while too, so I started taking it. And then for a few months, here's another paper on NRF2. Here's another paper on NRF1. Not on protandem, just, I knew what protandem did, and oxidative stress. And I looking for a reason to, maybe I don't want to turn this on, maybe I don't want to do that. I couldn't really find it. And all I kept finding was more and more evidence that, yeah, you need to do this. Yeah, you need to do this. Okay, what else do you want to see? Yeah, you need to do this. So I think if someone's not sure, do that. Go to Google Scholar, type in your subject. It'll ask you if you wanted to email it to you. It'll email it to you. So, yeah, that was it. I look at a lot of papers.
Excellent. Patty?
I do. I want to go back. You said something, and I don't know if I heard you correctly, so I want to clarify. When you said something about people that have been in car accidents, and you said their brain has that memory.
Most of the people that I see who have chronic pain, there's a certain area in your brain called the amygdala, and it always is in a hyper state of alert. But it does seem like, now that I look back and I've kind of taken care of the brain and the body all together, most of the patients who have had chronic pain, who are anxious, who are depressed, who lay in bed and ruminate at night, who just can't turn it off, and wonder why they hurt all over, they've usually experienced some type of trauma. So it's a car accident, and it doesn't have to be, but a car accident, a surgery, physical abuse, mental abuse, just something that always kind of keeps their brain on that hyper state of alert. So which started first? I don't know. Was it the trauma? Was it the abuse that caused you to be more anxious? That's now also kind of got your body on a hyper state of alert. So when you sense pain, you sense it a lot more than someone who may not feel it like that. And your brain's only designed to get you to survive from one day to the next. And if you do that being very anxious and in pain and stress, it did its job. You're going to wake up the next day. So we have to go in and try to break that cycle and change your brain. Your brain it's succeeded because you woke up the next day. And you may woke up the next day and feel miserable. And unless we go in and we make some changes, then your brain's just and your body's gonna do that same thing. So we look at different ways in our practice to to measure that and to change that. So we do neurofeedback, we do epigenetics, we give the body a nice baseline with the protandem to reduce the oxidative stress. So we give them very specific tools just for their body to help them heal. And we also, the book that I have is just coming out, but it's a journal, and it just helps them imagine their perfect day. Imagine how they really want to be, because sometimes when you're stuck in a place that you've been so long, you don't really know how to get out of it, and you can't even see another way to be. So just seeing another way to be helps it come to them. Kind of like when you buy a purple car and you never thought anybody had a purple car, and then you see a bunch of purple cars. The purple cars are always out there. You just can't see it because you're stuck where you're at. So, and I was stuck where I was at. I was stuck where I was at till I was kind of jolted out of it, and I had to kind of step out of it. And, I became my own patient and could kind of relate to where these women that I've been treating for a long time were. And I went on my own healing journey, and now, I can better serve them too.
Wow. The questions, texts are flying, there's chats coming. You could have a satellite practice here, I see.
Oh, thanks.
So Shannon, go ahead.
Okay, so you said initially, if I can question one thing, I can question everything. I so love that, because we only believe so much as what we know, so we need to continue to explore. So when you're sharing with people, for building a LifeVantage business, if you get pushback, can you talk about how you address the pushback from people about network marketing?
I just try to really help them to look at what their goals are. Where they want to be, maybe why they, it's hard to get into people's beliefs a little bit. You don't want to get into their beliefs, because I had that too, and I didn't know why, but so you try to help them see. And when you see too what a great product it is, it's like, this is how it's offered. This is, and maybe you can help them see beyond, or question why, just question a little bit why you really feel that way. And when you really think about it and you try to unwind it, those things kind of fall away. The objections fall away. You're trying to help people. They know I'm genuine. I'm sure they're genuine too. So, it might take them a little bit to kind of let it, process. But usually, just like myself, when I really stopped and said, okay, why do you think that? I didn't really have a good answer. I didn't have an answer that, should stop me, so.
Right. The unexamined, like there's that quote, the unexamined life is not worth living, but the unexamined belief maybe is not worth having.
That's right. Very good. I like that. I like that a lot. That's so true. Yeah. Just, when you want more, and if you can kind of just when they start to see what their future might look like, then, things come to you, and you have to let go of something before you can pick up something else. Mm-hmm. And I just learned, when Julia showed me the paper and the picture, this was my time to say yes. Now I know lots of times it comes knocking and we just kind of ignore stuff and we don't realize that's the answer you were looking for. And you just have to be a little more open. I just try to get people to just be more open and ask. Once you start asking, it shows up. You just have to be ready to take it and take action on it too.
Oh, I love that. It's all about timing. Patty, go ahead.
I love it. I do have, I know I don't want to run over, but I have a last question. As a doctor, physician, chiropractor, all these years in practice, do you ever have, I know a lot of us have talked to doctors, and there's that little piece that they're like, I don't want to get paid from selling a product to my patients. Yeah. Do you ever, have you gotten that question, and how do you address it?
Yeah, I get that question, but I look at it being a disservice to not offer what I think is something that I have never seen the results of it before. So if you don't want to get paid for it, I mean, then at least give them the information. Don't withhold this opportunity from your patient. You got to look at the science of it. If you can, as a physician, and you're looking at the science of it, then I want to know why you say no. You know, are you keeping something from your patient because of your belief? Not that it's not a good product, not that it's not going to help them get well. And doctors they're in business. I don't know many that aren't in business. So it just doesn't make sense. It's just one of those beliefs that they're not really, I think, looking at. There's not, when you can see the science behind it and you understand it, it's a no-brainer. I mean, they need it. Patients need it. People need it. Not just patients, everybody. Yeah.
Well, I would say that is a perfect ending to an incredible Zoom, because I know all of us have gone through that with some doctor out there. And I want to thank you so much. And Julia, absolutely amazing. Thank you for hooking us up and you saying yes, because I can tell you this will bless thousands of lives, this Zoom just today. Shannon?
Yes, absolutely. I agree completely with everything Patty said. Dr. Jackie, you are amazing. You've given us so much great information. I hope we get to meet you soon in Salt Lake. And thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you so much, too. It was wonderful.
Thank you. And thanks to Julia. Have a great Friday, guys.
Bye.
Bye.